So today I'm going to be having a nice and early look at an upcoming 4K Blu-ray release from Second Sight, and that is Kim Jee-Woon's A Bittersweet Life. So glad I finally got that. That took me so many takes to say that director's name properly. Anyway, I was lucky enough to receive this from Second Sight, to have a wee early look at it, as I say, and review it on the channel, and it was really good because I hadn't actually seen this before. I actually had to Google it because I couldn't believe it passed me by, and then it was only when I seen the original artwork for the DVD back in 2005 that it kind of re-jogged my memory, and I remembered seeing it on the shelves in Bloopers Video when I worked there at that time. But for one reason or another, it had passed me by. I probably wasn't cultured enough to check out a Korean foreign language film then, but it's right up my street now. So in this video, I'm going to talk about this new release, obviously, talk about the different versions that are coming out, and I'll give you my thoughts on the movie and of course its video and audio presentation. Let's get into it. So like I said in the intro, I was fortunate enough to be sent this out by Second Sight, but initially they sent me out this pre-production version of the Blu-ray when I had actually asked for the 4K. But I was still grateful, and I hadn't seen the film, so I thought I'll still check it out. Obviously it wasn't finished, but it still had the menus and all that, and I was really impressed with the presentation of it. Having not seen it before, it's difficult to know how much of an upgrade it is because I didn't own it or I hadn't even seen it previously. But it looked really good, and I do have a few Second Sight titles, and it was what I expect from them, and it's absolutely loaded with special features. But then I was fortunate enough, closer to release, to be sent out the actual retail copy of the 4K Blu-ray. Like I said, I'd slept on it and didn't know anything about it, but to give you a kind of idea of what it's about, the synopsis is basically the lead character, I'm not going to butcher his name, but you can see him on my monitor there. He is an enforcer slash hitman for a Korean crime boss, basically. And at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to him, and he's kind of running a restaurant for this crime boss. He's then called upon by the crime boss, and he's entrusted to carry out surveillance, if you like, on the crime boss's mistress, who he believes might be cheating on him. And he's tasked with doing away with her if he finds out that she is in fact seeing someone else. But unfair, but he's a crime boss, he can do what he wants. And he states at this point that the reason he gives the job to him is because he knows he hasn't loved, because he's a kind of closed off, cold, withdrawn character, and he'll be able to coldly carry out the job without, you know, letting any feelings get in the way or anything like that. So that's kind of how the movie starts, and I thought at this point, oh god, here we go, this is going to be cliched, I can see where this is going, but it doesn't quite go where you think it will go. It does go wrong for him with his interaction with this female and what he kind of finds out about her, but it's after that that it becomes a kind of one-man army fight for survival, where he kind of turns his skills on the crime boss and all his many henchmen. It's a really cool, understated film. I would say it's kind of like, imagine John Woo played down. John Woo tastefully done right. I don't think John Woo films are very tasteful. I think they're totally kind of over the top and over stylized, and they haven't aged well as a result. But this is kind of like low-key John Woo. If you like films like John Wick, Drive, which is another Second Sight release actually, if you like that kind of stoic lone warrior type neon noir thriller, then you'll have an absolute ball with A Bittersweet Life if you can kind of see past the fact that it's a foreign language film. It's only in Korean, so there's no dubbing, which I'm not bothered about because I hate films that are dubbed. I think it totally takes away from the performances of the actors. But the lead actor in this is just uber cool. He's dressed always in a kind of black and white suit, kind of reminds me of Reservoir Dogs. But yeah, it's just got a really cool vibe, this film. It's got a kind of orchestral score to it, classical score to it, which means it doesn't age the same as a movie that's maybe got kind of contemporary songs from that time in the kind of mid-noughties. It's shot really beautifully, edited really in a kind of slick, stylish fashion, and the fight choreography is good. There's not an abundance of fight sequences in it. It's not as kind of flash and as action-driven as John Wick, but I would say it's not as kind of slow burn as Drive, say. So it's somewhere in between. So it's definitely got a kind of nice pace. It's slow paced, but it prattles along, and there's plenty to keep you entertained with regards to kind of action and shootouts. The shootout at the end in particular is fantastic, and it's quite a unique film, and there's a good special feature on the disc actually that talks about the choice of weapon that he has. So he goes and kind of procures himself a weapon at some point to defend himself after everyone turns on him, and it's a KGB weapon that was only declassified in 1990, and the director apparently chose it because it looked so different. It's very unique. I've never seen it before. I've certainly never seen it in a film before. I doubt it's been in any other films. And a unique feature of it, apart from just the way it looks, is that it takes a double magazine, so it can hold about 20 rounds, I think. So yeah, it's just really interesting. It's just all these wee things just make this film really cool, and I can understand why it's became something of a cult classic, and I'm so glad it's in my life now and I've got it in 4K. So if you haven't seen A Bittersweet Life, definitely check it out. And as I say, picking it up from Second Sight would be a good way to go. I think it's a safe blind buy if you like neo-noir thrillers and you like those films I've mentioned, you know, John Wick, Drive, and any of kind of John Woo's early stuff, especially his foreign language stuff. So a little bit about the release. It's coming out on Monday. That's Monday coming. I'm filming this the weekend prior to that, so you'll be able to pre-order it right now, but probably by the time you watch this it might just be a day before its release on the 22nd, so you'll be able to just go into the shop and buy it this coming Monday. Now it's been released on 4K obviously, and the standard Blu-ray as well. The prices will be down in the description if you're interested, along with all the links to pre-order it or buy it. But it's also coming out as one of Second Sight's awesome collector's box set. Now I only actually have one, but it's one of my favourite pieces in my collection, and that's the Drive 4K limited edition box set. Now you could throw this through a window, right? It's so sturdy, brilliant build quality. It's got a rigid slip and it has a book in it and all that kind of stuff. I've actually done a video on this, so if you're interested in just seeing the kind of quality of Second Sight's box sets from me, then you can obviously hunt out this video, and I'll link that in the description also. But included in the 4K limited edition box set of A Bittersweet Life is a rigid slipcase, as I kind of mentioned, and you get this new artwork that you can see here by Michael Boland, which I think is much better than any of the artwork that's been released before for it. Very understated, very cool, just like the film itself. And you get a 120-page book with new essays by Dr. Lindsay Hallam, Rich Johnson, Michael Leader, Daniel Martin and Alison Piercy, and 6 collector's art cards. So it's a nice box set. It would have been nice if they'd sent me that and I would have unboxed it, but I'm quite happy with the vanilla 4K. And I should mention that other than the actual physical extras you get in the box set, all the special features, the abundance of special features, will be on both the Blu-ray and the 4K, so you're not missing out. If you go with the vanilla options, it's the same special features and content that's on the disc. Should say that if you buy the box set, you get the 4K and the Blu-ray. The 4K Blu-ray on its own only has that disc. You don't get the Blu-ray with that also, should you be looking for that. Anyway, on to the part that you probably want to know about the most. How does it look? What's the 4K transfer like? And the Blu-ray transfer for that matter. So, in a word, impressive on both accounts. Bittersweet Life looks absolutely beautiful. I watched it on Blu-ray and I thought, you know, I'd be quite happy with that as it is. I'm not sure how much better the 4K would be. Stuck the 4K in once I received it just last week and put on some of the most notable scenes, and it is actually very impactful and a bit of a notable difference. So this movie all takes place largely at night time. It's in Korea. They're often in dimly lit bars, restaurants, out in the street with kind of street lighting and stuff. So there's loads of opportunity for that kind of dynamic range. Tech spec wise, the movie comes with a HDR grading in Dolby Vision and HDR10. Its aspect ratio is in 239:1, and as I said earlier, it's a native 4K presentation. The HDR is really evident in this, and it's actually quite a bloody film. So whenever there's like blood flying all over the place and stuff, you get that kind of glisten off the blood just to make it that little bit more realistic and a little bit more impactful when you're watching those sequences. If you like kind of old school John Woo films, kind of Paul Verhoeven films with those like massive big squibs that go off, those kind of like, dare I say it, satisfying bullet hits where there's kind of blood going everywhere and stuff, very cinematic, over the top, you'll enjoy A Bittersweet Life. There's a lot of that going on in here. And as I said earlier, the gunfight at the end in particular is a really satisfying one. So the HDR really kind of brings those sequences to life, and it really benefits from it, just given the way it's shot and the way it's lit in this film. So if you're on the fence between the Blu-ray and the 4K, I would definitely say get the 4K over the Blu-ray if you've got the budget. However, I would just recommend you to definitely check this out, and the presentation of the Blu-ray is very good and you'll get all the special features. So if you're a bit cautious because like me you've slept on it, then it would be a very safe buy, I would imagine, to get just the Blu-ray. But I'm telling you now, if you end up really liking the film, you're definitely missing out on the HDR if you don't get the 4K Blu-ray version. If I've piqued your interest and you want to blind buy this, then as I say, the links will be in the description for the Blu-ray, the 4K and the box set. I'll leave links for Second Sight's website and for Amazon, where I'm affiliated. So if you want to support the channel, you can go through the Amazon link and that'd be much appreciated. But that's it for this video. Remember, if you want to see the Drive unboxing, you can obviously check that video out. Or if you want to see some more 4K Blu-ray reviews, they should be popping up on the screen round about now. Go on, you know you want to. See you in the next one. It's a Korean language film called A Bittersweet Life from director Kim Jee-Woon. Oh fuck knows. What is it again? Kim Jee-Woon. Start that again. But it's a Korean foreign language film called A Bittersweet Life from director Kim Jee-Woon. Oh fuck's sake.